Welcome to the Deep Dive, and a special welcome if you're joining us from Stock Explorers. You are absolutely in the right place today. We're getting into a really extraordinary corporate story. SRM Entertainment Inc. Remember them, the toy maker. Well, they've just become Tron Inc., a publicly traded crypto treasury. It's quite the shift. Our mission here is to really unpack this, figure out the key insights for anyone looking at this very, very unique investment.
You've set that up perfectly. And yeah, this isn't your standard company breakdown, is it? We need to look at the new business model, this huge strategic pivot, and definitely the role of key people, like Justin Sun, obviously. And then there's the financials, the regulations. It's definitely high stakes. Speculative, you could say.
Okay, so let's start with that transformation. How exactly did SRM Entertainment, this Florida toy company making stuff for Disney, Universal, places like that, become Tron Inc? Because as of July 17, 2025, that's who they are. And it's way more than just a name change, right? It's a complete flip from making physical things to basically being a public piggy bank for the Tron TRX cryptocurrency ecosystem.
Right. It's a fundamental identity shift.
So how did they pull that off?
Right.
A toy company to a crypto treasury. Well, it happened through a pretty complex reverse merger. And this was orchestrated by key figures inside the Tron world itself. We're talking founder Justin Sun, his father Wake Sun, who's now the chairman, is essentially giving the Tron brand a kind of backdoor way onto the U.S. stock market.
Exactly. A backdoor listing. They avoid the whole traditional IPO rigmarole, just step into SRM's existing public shell. Instant access to capital markets.
Yeah.
And their core business now, it's starkly different. Tron Inc. isn't making anything physical anymore. Its main job, its primary function, is simply to buy, hold, and then crucially stake huge amounts of TRX tokens. The goal is pretty clear. Make money from the TRX price going up, hopefully, and also from getting those high-staking rewards. Yeah. It really reminds you of MicroStrategy's Bitcoin playbook, doesn't it? Positioning themselves as the strategy of Tron, essentially.
And they're going big right away. They've actually stated they are the largest publicly traded corporate holder of TRX in the world.
Yeah.
Their first buy was over 365 million TRX tokens. That's a serious opening move.
It absolutely is. And how they plan to generate revenue, it's sort of two-pronged. First, the value of the TRX they hold going up, like that initial $100 million stash, apparently it appreciated about 10%, up to $111 million. So their value is tied directly to TRX price swings. Second, and this is where it gets particularly interesting for potential investors, is the active staking yield. They've staked that entire initial treasury, and they're targeting, an ambitious up to 10% annually. And this isn't just basic staking, locking up tokens. It also involves something called energy renting on JustLend, basically lending out network resources for extra fees to boost that yield.
Okay, energy renting, got it.
And they've even mentioned possibly paying dividends to shareholders, but that depends on how well the staking actually performs.
Right, contingent on success there. But wait, what happened to the old toy business? Is it just gone?
No, surprisingly, it's still around. It's now a wholly owned subsidiary. Still has those partnerships: Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, Six Flags, all those names.
So it's kind of a weird mix then.
You could call it a hybrid model, yeah. The toy business gives it this look of a traditional company. Maybe helps with NASDAQ rules, provides a story about stable cash flow, perhaps. But let's be real. Financially, its contribution is tiny compared to the crypto treasury side. It definitely creates a confusing picture for investors trying to figure out what they're actually buying into.
It certainly muddies the waters. Okay, so this hybrid company, mostly crypto, bit of toys on the side, who's really steering the ship. Let's talk about Justin Sun, because his influence seems absolutely central, doesn't it? Directly through an advisory agreement and indirectly with his father as chairman and other Tron people on the board, it really cements his control.
Oh, absolutely. And Sun's reputation, it's a massive factor here. A real double-edged sword, you could say. On the one hand, you've got the bear case, his history with the SEC, right? Allegations of unregistered securities sales, wash trading. Though that suit was paused for settlement talks, then there's the criticism of the Tron blockchain itself being used for illicit stuff. You saw reports from the Wall Street Journal, the UN mentioning illegal crypto activity, money laundering, and that fuels those persistent Chinese scam labels from some critics. It's baggage.
Definitely baggage. But there's another side.
Yeah, the bull case. Sun is undeniably a master marketer, a showman. I mean, look at SRM's stock price. When this deal was announced, it surged over 500%. That shows his power to grab market attention, and he's cultivated political connections, like with the Trump administration and family. Some investors see that as like political shielding, navigating the system.
So if you boil it all down, is investing in Tron Inc. really about TRX, or is it just a straight-up bet on Justin Sun himself?
I think that's pretty much it. It's fundamentally a bet on Sun, a wager on whether his marketing genius and political savvy can overcome the regulatory risks and the reputation issues. That's the gamble.
Okay, let's ground this in financials for a second.
No.
Before this whole thing, SRM Entertainment wasn't doing great, was it?
Yeah.
Their 2024 numbers showed big net losses, negative cash flow. Cash reserves were looking shaky. They were even having trouble with NASDAQ, like staying above the $1 minimum bid price.
Yeah, they were really struggling.
So this reverse merger, it wasn't just strategic. It sounds like it was a lifeline, a way to avoid bankruptcy or getting kicked off the exchange, which maybe explains why they accepted the massive dilution we need to talk about.
Exactly. The dilution was the price of survival, you could argue. And it is profoundly dilutive. We're potentially talking about up to 420 million new shares being issued. That's an increase of over 2,300% compared to before.
Wow.
And issued at a preferential price, just $0.50 a share. Plus, the public float, the shares actually available for trading is pretty small, only about 10.67 million shares. High volatility potential. A small float means even small buy or sell orders can swing the price dramatically. Recipe for big moves.
And the way they report earnings is changing too, right? Something about a new accounting rule.
Yeah, FASB's ASU 2023-08. Basically, they now have to mark their crypto holdings to fair value constantly. So every up and down in the price of TRX hits their net income immediately. Unrealized gains, unrealized losses all go straight to the bottom line.
So earnings reports are just going to mirror TRX's price chart. Extreme volatility baked right in.
Pretty much. Which means traditional metrics like PE ratios become kind of meaningless. Investors really need to shift focus. Look at different KPIs.
Like what? What should people be watching?
Primarily, the market value of that TRX treasury. That's number one. Then the actual staking yield they achieve, are they hitting that 10% target? Also, the stock price relative to the value of the treasury. And crucially, their operational cash burn, how much money are they spending just to keep the lights on?
Okay, those make sense. Any secondary things?
Sure. Broader Tron ecosystem health things like active addresses, transaction volume, stablecoin volume on the network. Also, the trading volume and liquidity of Tron Inc.'s stock itself. And keep an eye on insider buying or selling those Form 4 filings with the SEC.
Got it. So with all this TRX price risk, how are they hedging? Do they have a strategy?
Well, that's the interesting part. It seems like they don't. Not a formal hedging strategy anyway. Their approach seems more narrative-driven. It's about the HODL mentality, hold on for dear life, and dangling that potential dividend as a sort of psychological cushion for investors willing to ride out the volatility. It's a bet on long-term belief.
Huh. Okay. What about just holding all that crypto? Isn't that a risk itself? Security.
That's a huge operational risk and, frankly, not very transparent right now. They say the holdings are in a custodian wallet controlled by SRM's board, but who's the custodian? What are the specific security measures? Is there insurance? We don't know those details publicly, and that's a major potential vulnerability for investors.
Definitely something to watch. Okay, let's broaden out. The market, the future. Regulations are a big cloud over crypto, aren't they?
Yeah.
We just saw the Senate pass the Genius Act in June 2025, aimed at regulating stablecoins. How does that play into this?
The Genius Act. That's a really big one for Tron Inc. It presents both a massive opportunity and, potentially, a significant threat.
How so?
Well, the opportunity is huge. If stablecoins get regulatory clarity and legitimacy, usage of the Tron network could explode. Remember, Tron is the dominant platform for Tether USDT that's over $81 billion in value. Legitimacy could validate Tron Inc.'s whole strategy and drive up demand for TRX.
Okay, that's the upside. What's the threat?
The threat is that the requirements might be too strict. If Tether can't comply, it could be crippled. That would be devastating for Tron. Or it could empower US-based competitors like Circle's USDC. And another key point. The act seems focused on fiat-backed stablecoins, like USDT or USDC, not algorithmic ones like Tron's own USDT. So USDT might fall outside that potentially beneficial regulation or face different hurdles. It's complex.
Very complex. And competitively, where does Tron Inc. sit? You mentioned MicroStrategy. But different.
Totally different. MicroStrategy is Bitcoin. Coinbase makes money on trades. Circle deals with interest on stablecoin reserves. Tron Inc. is really unique. It's a pure play bet on the Tron ecosystem itself, specifically TRX price and staking. That's its edge, but also its concentration risk.
And that stock performance you mentioned, 1,400% surge in 6 months, 500% in a day. That screams meme stock, doesn't it?
It absolutely has all the characteristics. Retail-driven speculation, huge volatility, polarized camps online. You see it on social media. The bulls are all about the Tron brand. Sun's marketing, the staking yield, maybe a short squeeze potential. The bears are hammering on the dilution, Sun's history, those Chinese scam fears. It's a classic meme stock narrative battle playing out.
Which brings us back to Sun. What about ethical concerns? Conflicts of interest given his influence, those past pump and dump accusations from the SEC case?
Those are definitely part of the discussion, yeah. Investors worry about governance when one figure is so dominant. As for the Chinese scam stuff, the company will likely counter by emphasizing Tron's decentralized nature and saying they comply with U.S. laws. On a slightly different note, from an ESG angle, Tron's tech-delegated proof of stake is much more energy efficient than Bitcoin's proof of work, so that's a potential positive spin for them.
Okay. And one last connection, Dominar Securities, the Trump sons. Donald Jr., Eric, what's the deal there?
That connection adds another layer. Some see it as a plus closeness to a potentially pro-crypto political force, maybe some insulation. Others see it as a risk tying the company's fate too closely to specific political wins, potentially alienating some investors. It's definitely part of their public image now.
So wrapping this all up, what's the final word on the investment thesis here?
I think we have to reiterate, Tron Inc. is a high-stakes, highly speculative play. It's not for the faint of heart. Fundamentally, you're betting on a few key things. The price of TRX, obviously, the continued growth of Tron's dominance in stablecoins, how U.S. regulations shake out, and maybe most importantly, you're betting on Justin Sun's ability to navigate all this controversy and somehow create value out of it. It's a complex, fascinating puzzle.
So the big question for you, the listener, considering crypto exposure in the public markets, what does Tron Inc. represent? Is it this unique chance to get direct access to a specific, growing crypto ecosystem? Or is it more like watching a high-wire act, where the risks, dilution, regulation, reputation could easily overwhelm any potential reward? Definitely something to think about based on your own comfort with risk and how you see the crypto market's future. If this deep dive gave you food for thought, please do subscribe, give us a like, it really helps, and hit those notifications so you won't miss our next exploration.